we want to continue from where we are stopping last time. So first, let's start by the 4 exercises, remaining 4 exercises. Exercise 5, 6, 7, and 8. The first exercise is working with coordinate system.
You want to speak English, Mrs.
Yes.
Ali? Okay.
So firstly, go to new and create a new file. Then you will go to the coordinate system, the file as txt coordinate system, and copy the code and to put in the new file. As we show, this code will consist of 7 steps. The first one is to load the SHP of Lebanon. Second lines, map.center_object and map.addLayer. To test the coordinate system of Lebanon, we use the function .first geometry.projection and print the output. The output will appear in the console here, namely EPSG4326. This means that the coordinate system is a geographic coordinate system 84. To reproject the coordinate system from WGS84 to UTM zone 663 north, we use the function .geometry.transform. Why we transform the coordinate? We talked last time. If we want to calculate area, line, shape, angle, we want to use a projection coordinate system. The projection coordinate system is a UTM. So now, we can calculate the area of Lebanon in meter square and convert the result to kilometer square. If we want to export this feature or this result as SHP, we use the command export.table.to-drive. So now it takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes to apply this code. علي حيدر. بس فاضل لهم برضه حد في السن One important point to pay attention about the name of your user. So replace EE-Jawad 17 by your user. فايل 5. If you faced error about the link of the data, you can go to assets and add Lebanon, for example, from here. Since you add Lebanon here, replace the table with Lebanon and pay attention about the capitalize of L. يعني صارت تصير يعني حظ منيح بس هو اكس واي لا ما شيء فايل اكس واي يعني بروح على رقم 5 كوردينيتس كنترول ار بس انتبه للشغله انه غير لا غير الاسم تيبل عندنا حاجة عاملين definition بالميتين فوق. ما هو مشهور. So, when we run the code, we remark in the test in the top tasks there are a new result will appear. When you click run here, the file automatically download in our drive, and we can download this file to use in the other software, for example. So now we want to work with the geometries. So we talked last time. We can draw a geometry as point, line, and polygon. There are two ways to draw or to add a polygons or feature to the Google Earth Engine Flood platform. The first one هيدي مش شغالة هون عم ضل تفصل. The first way is to define directly a point using phi and lambda coordinate system. And same way for the polygons and for polyline. We use the function dot polygon for geometry and the function dot polyline dot line string for line. So now we go to the file and we create a new file, namely geometries. باينة عندك الشاشة باينة عندك هيدي على اللينك على الزوم مش باينة عندك. Live screen, okay. Okay, we go to the text file 6.geometries and copy these codes and run in the Google Earth Engine. The second way, we can directly go to the panels, drawing tool panels here, and click on the points, for example, and put the location of points or draw a line or draw a polygon or draw a rectangle, for example. So now take 5 to 10 minutes to apply these two ways. شيل حالك. Now we want to apply two tools in Google Earth Engine, the clip and buffer. So go to Google Earth Engine and add a new file, namely tools. The first tool is clip. So we define the shapefile, or the first feature is Lebanon, and the second feature is the study area of interest. For example, we can draw any polygon. And to apply the clip intersect, we use the function .map function features and return the feature intersection. When we click run, we will see that there are three overlapping of features. The first one is the study area of our geometry. Here here there are two features. The first one is cadastral clipped and the cadastral village. This is our results of the study area. And أول إنه كانت لحية الليمون. Sorry guys, we have an issue about the internet connection. Right, so maybe you face issue about the definition of the study area. So the first step is to click on draw a rectangle here and draw a rectangle. For example, let's name study area. When we add a rectangle, the variable here will appear instead of study area on your laptops as tables. So rename these tables with study area, and then run the code. Also, important point to organize our data and our management data. Firstly, we recommended to go to new and create a repository file and namely by your name. So this is the repository file. We can also add a folder. My folder here is Lebanon, and then we create a files to manipulate the data management of our codes. So what? يعني السمول فيتشرز كل ساعة الإسرائيلية عندنا عصام الإسرائيلية عمال يصير اي امتحان خلص حط اسكيب حط اسكيب في فوق الجيومتري بار الجيومتري فوق الثاني سطر في راس الصفحه هذا مش فوق اول شيء بار الجيومتري هون كيف حل وريبليس او تستخدم الاريا بس بنفس الطريقه المقصوده. right coordinate system احنا مع reprojection كلمة تعمل ولا أول شيء بس قبل ما تعملي زي الأرض.
هذا بيطلع على الجامعة بالضبط؟
من الجرام مش حاط. أوكي. روحي على عليك الموضوع. طفي أول طفي شو لا طيب. هذه هي أكلتكم متعملة. أنا أقصد إنه هاي نستخدم تاني.
بس أنا جاي حاجة في مصدر
ما حسن من ناحية أسماء ستة.
كيف أخذ من هاي؟
لا. اشتغل. لا. أنا رسمت تاج طبعا بدي. Okay. Now we want to continue our chapter 4. Chapter 4 indices calculation in Google Earth Engine. يا فاطمة مش الحلقة لا.
بالليل في معدل
عارفين الناس عندي قريب هو بيسوي structure.
أنت جماعة
Let's continue with the chapter 4 and this calculation in Google Earth Engine. The NDVI. NDVI is an index that measures vegetation health and density using the difference between near infrared and red light reflection by plants. The NDVI value range from -1 to 1, where higher values indicate healthier and denser vegetation. So this is the equation of the NDVI. Near infrared minus red over near infrared plus red. The range of NDVI -1 to 0. This is another -1 to 0 dead plants, 0 to 0.3, and 0.33 to 0.66, and 0.66 to 1. Note the range can be adjusted depending on the reference of author guidelines. Why we calculate the NDVI? For monitor vegetation health, map vegetation density and cover, detect stress plant, and track seasonal change and growth. 5, support environmental and climate studies. NDVI can be calculated from any satellite or aerial imagery that had both red band and near infrared. So usually we use the two satellites, Sentinel-2 and Landsat 8. For the Landsat 8, the red band, namely B4, near infrared B5, and the spatial resolution is 30 meters. For the Sentinel satellites or sensors, the red band is B4, and near infrared band is B8, with spatial resolution 10 meters. For an area less than 10,000 kilometers, such as Lebanon, the best choices of satellite data for NDVI depends on the required spatial details and revisit frequency and the processing capability. So we can calculate the NDVI of Lebanon using the two satellites or two sensors, Sentinel-2 and Landsat 8. This is the result of calculation of NDVI for the Lebanon using Landsat 8, and this is the result of NDVI calculation with Sentinel-2. So now we want to go to the Google Earth Engine platform and apply the NDVI on the Landsat 8. This is the result of the NDVI using Landsat 8. This is the legend. Blue refer to water bodies, and the green for healthy vegetation, and the yellow for sparse vegetation. Of course, we define an image collection. We filter. Last time we talked about 3 types of filtering: 1, filter by bounds; 2, filter by dates; and 3, filter by metadata. Filter by bounds, we select Lebanon. Filter by date, we select from, for example, between June and end of July. and it's filtered by metadata. We select the imagery less than 20% of cloud cover. The equation of the NDVI for Landsat, it's between near infrared and red, between the two bands B5 and B4. To calculate the NDVI, we use the function NDVI collection.median.clip. It's to refer, we clipped the NDVI on the study area Lebanon. To visualize NDVI, for example, the range -0.2 to 0.8. This is a popular palette. We use the blue and white and yellow and the green. We use the function map.addLayer to add the NDVI results to our map viewer. And we can add a legend of our results. The second, and this is the NDWI. NDWI measures water presence in satellite imagery by comparing a green and near infrared. So the difference between NDVI and NDWI, the NDVI use red and near infrared, but the NDWI use green and near infrared. The same principle of the NDVI. So NDWI is equal to green minus near infrared over green plus near infrared. Why we use why we calculate the NDWI? Identify water surface, river, lake, monitor seasonal or long-term change in water extent, and differentiate the water from vegetation, and support environmental and hydrological studies such as flood mapping, drought assessment, and water resource management. Also, NDWI, to calculate NDWI, we can use Landsat 8 with the green band and near infrared. So the green band for the Landsat 8 is B3, and the near infrared is B5. For Sentinel, the NDWI is calculated between B3 and B8. So now we look to the Google Earth Engine and go to the file NDWI Sentinel-2. And if we apply our code, we get as results two feature or two colors. The first one is black for land, water, and the second color is for water. This is a way to mapping the water bodies of our study area. So here we see the Crown Lake mapped by NDWI. ما في عندنا نت والله.
لابد من هيك
سسبانس. Here in the center, we are issues about connection and electricity. Sorry. من محمد من حيدر محمد ما نلقط من عندك. لا انا لقط من عندك وانت مشروعان
كيف يسمونها على واقع
تسمع.
لا والله
Chapter 5 is the classification using Google Earth Engine. Firstly, the supervised classification. Supervised classification is a remote sensing and machine learning technique used to categorize pixels in a satellite image into different land cover classes, such as urban, forest, water, agriculture, based on training sample provided by the users. So the main step of the training or the supervised classification, first, define the classes. So we go to the lands and choose, for example, example of our sample. We go, for example, for an urban area and draw a rectangle and define this this feature, namely urban, to collecting training data. 3, we train to classify using algorithm. 4, we apply the model to classify image. And the last step is to validate our results. So we can go, for example, for a specific area, if we know, and to compare the results with our knowledge. So this is an example for classification, so supervised classification. We can see the classification. The classification it consists about green fields and green, urban area in red, water bodies in blue. So here we can remark that to map water bodies we can use 3 or 4 methods. The first one using NDVI, second one using NDWI, third we can use classification, supervised classification, and we will see in the next slide we can mapping the water bodies using unsupervised classification. So here in Lebanon, the Quran Lake is a famous lake. So we can verify our results to zoom in to this lake and show the mapping of this lake. Of course, we will see in the next time the change of the water bodies. So, for example, we can compare the area of the lake. كلهم ولا share screen. شغال أنا. Right. We return to our slide. So we can compare the area of the water bodies. For example, we can use we can use, for example, or we can compare the two surface of water area between 2 years. We will apply this in next time. 5 or not 5, chapter 5, classification in Google Earth Engine, unsupervised classification. The difference between unsupervised classification and supervised classification, the supervised classification, it's require our own definition. The definition. That means we go to a specific area, and the algorithm. So we go to a specific area and draw a polygon. 2 minutes, yalla. Yeah. So we go to a specific area and draw a polygon and name this polygon, for example, forest, another polygon water, another polygon urban area. But in the supervised, unsupervised classification is a technique in remote sensing where the algorithm automatically groups pixel into clusters and use the same logic for the supervised classification, training data and use the algorithm and appear the outputs, and finally we get the accuracy for our data. This is the example of unsupervised classification for Lebanon. We can remark there are 5 clusters, cluster 0 to cluster 4. So now we take a break and we will continue. شوية. Hello again. Before to apply the exercises and continue our lecture, just I want to explain how to organize our data. Firstly, we go to scripts and click on new. We add a new repository. Let's name file 1. Click on create. Here we remark there are two repository files. The first one is file 1 and the second the old one. Then we click on the file here on the file 1 and go to new and add folder. File 2. Click OK. The file 2 will add it under the file 1. Let's create or add a new folder or new file 2. Then we go to new and add a new file. This file is the empty or black script or to write our code. Script 1. We remark that the script 1 is under of the file 1. We can go drag the script 1 and to put in file 2.1 or file 2.2. And now if we close the platform and reopen again, go to code editor, we found the last organization of our files. Okay, this is just a remark to organize our data and our management for data and for folder to quick access our scripts. Okay, now we want to apply the buffer zone and the NDVI and the NDWI and if there is time we want to apply supervised and unsupervised classification. So let's start with the buffer zone. We go to new and add a file. Let's name buffer underscore zone. Click OK. Pay attention. The name should be no content spaces. So buffer underscore zone. انتوا معايا؟ we go to the code buffer and copy it and add to our empty data, empty script. Here, to apply a buffer zone, for example, of 5 kilometers, we want to create a polygon, namely geometry. So we can add to drawing tool set and select a rectangle, for example, and draw a rectangle here. This is the same name, geometry and geometry, and we can, and now click on run. When you click on run, this is the buffer zone in blue of 5 kilometers. Now let's look to the NDVI, or to work with the NDVI for Landsat 8. Go to the NDVI file. So you should to create a new empty file. I already created NDVI Landsat. So first step is to load our image or our boundary, Lebanon. Define a var Lebanon by ee.feature collection and use the link of our data set. The second line is to load the Landsat 8, always using 3 filters: bounds, date, and metadata. And use the function to calculate the NDVI between the B5 and B4. The same method for calculation the NDVI using Sentinel-2, but the difference between Sentinel-2 and Landsat 8, the using of the bands. And in the NDVI, in the Landsat, we use the 2 bands B5 and B4, but in the Sentinel-2, we use the B8 and B4. B4 is for the red and B8 for the near infrared. The same method and the same steps. And when we click on run, we get the results. And blue water bodies, and green dense healthy vegetation, and in yellow sparse vegetation. So let's practice these two exercises and to continue with the classification.
شو عندكم ما تخلص؟
روح على الوضع روح على الوضع
أصلا
هم كان شغال لأنه أنت هم كان درجة إنه معك عارف إنه ما نفكر شيء تقريبا صعب لازم كيف مو درجات تكبر صار مرة يوجدكم يعني أنا مش حامل تفرغ ضمننا مصري على أنواع المفاوضين اللي ما تشتغل هو ناس تدفع مش أعتقد أول ما مش إذا ما أعتقد طبعا عملت ران 19 مرة من صرت موجود 19 الصبح مش أنا مش حاطط أنا بوصل عند الفوق على أعمل الكود شو كمل أعمل الكود فيه أهم من الكود اللي تعملها فيه ما أقدر أقدر ما أقدر طلعت مع ليجند رحت مع المعين الجون بدأنا عن بسيط وعن دارين كثير حين قد 26 أمرت لا كثير ضغط أنت مش بس شهر أنا مش هتعمل في الجوال أعمل في الجوال بطريقة ثانية لا تاخذ خبرة زوجين عشان مش معقولة لا مش بالبلد صح أنا مش عارف صح إيش هذول الاثنين لا حتى صعب ممكن لا مش هذول الاثنين مش حتى صعب أنا أول NDWI هو تبين معك هذه نفس المشكلة عندكم عشان مع نغير في الفوق لا نروح نعمل أكثر اللي هو مستخدم فيه محل المكتب المحتوى خلاص طيب ما عملت من كده بالآي يعني ممكن لازم طيب لانسات شو سنة كده لا حتى كده ما نفس المشكلة عندك مش اللي هو
فالعنوان NWI للوضع. لا بس نكتب عنوان NWI نفس الأصل. كيف طبعا وياه؟ لا خمسين. NWI. لا مجرد مهمة تدفع مهمة عم تلو اللجنة تمام هي يعملها بنت شغل صغير عندها ولا مش شغل صغير عندها ولا صغير أنا عم بقرأ عم بقرأ كمان وانا شو والله بس بيقول مستريان ولا مصر مصر
الأسبوع الجاي لحد
شو اشتغلت
اشتغلت سايد ساينس، احنا عندنا سيرفر وسبيكال وعلى
ما قرأت ما اشتغلت شيء ما شيء
لا مع انه دكاتره في البيت.
لا ايش بحصل؟
نعم
جمعت صباحيات
ما في وسط اسهل انك تجيب الكلام عم تشتغل صار بشكل اساسي. ما في مصاري، ما في حدا يتابع على الموضوع، لا اسهل
مش حابب افهم بالجامعة والجامعة نيجي مش حابب
لا يمكن يفهم انا مثل
بين كل المواضيع ولا
حدث.
هم الحدث مش حدث
هي مش قصة موضوع معك، مش هذا موضوع مهم خليك تشتغل.
لا شوي كوفي شوي كلام كثير وين الصعاب مهل حبيب مهل أعطانا وين لا ما حسب البورتر أو تحل البيس حسب البورتر بشغل طويل عريض ما هو بروجكشن كنت بس اللي ذاك تفاصيل انت ما اشتري تحطه على جنب تقول من هيدا كل شويه اللي كوبي بيست وصلت
بس ما في أي شيء
بس ما فيش حاجه اخدمها من دول عمل اخدمها
بس
هذا هو زي ما قلت
وأنا عمله
لا هو جسم زي ساعه كيف الله أقول لك هذا هو أراضي كلام أول حاجة كلام أول وقت اللي يحصل في الجيل
في أشياء
أنت والقرآن حطيتها وين؟
أيوه
ما شلون يحتاج مرة أنا زود لك
يقولون ليش العرب
أنا هذا أنت والقرآن أنت عملتها ممكن شرح مكمل
مش الحالة
So now we want to apply the supervised classification. To apply the supervised classification, we want to define variables or features. First feature is the green fields. Second feature, urban. Third feature is water bodies and forest and barren land. So we go to the drawing tools and we click on new layer. Before that, go to satellite here and click on this tab to get the satellite image. So go, for example, or zoom in on Beirut. Beirut or Ras Beirut is defined by an urban area. The urban area, the urban area here, it's defined by 2 elements, or 9 elements. The 9 element, sorry. The 9 element will appear as two features. So second, the green fields by purple. We zoom in on the Mount of Lebanon and we add here a barren land. We click on barren land and we get a rectangle here, and for example, a rectangle here, and a rectangle here. Okay. For the water bodies, also we add a layer. When we add a layer, the new feature will appear here. We rename water bodies, and we go to the layers. We click on water bodies. We go, for example, to the Crown Lake, and add a polygon, for example, here. When we add a polygon here, we can change the colors of the water bodies. Here, for example, we get in blue. Same method for forest. We zoom here on the forest. We click on the forest. First, we click on a new layer, and we rename the geometry here by forest, and we go to the forest and draw a rectangle here, for example, and here we draw another rectangle, for example. So after we define our feature or our variable, now we want to apply the supervised classification. So the first step to apply, so the first step is to define classes. We are already defined 5 classes on our satellite image. Second, we want to apply collecting training data and train classification and classify image. When we finish our code, we want to validate our results. So after you define our this variable, we go to the file, namely supervised classification, and copy the code, and always make sure about your region of interest, and change the link of the border. And when we run this code, we obtain the classification of Lebanon under five types. In green, the green field; in red, the urban areas; blue for water bodies; green for forest; and yellow for barren land. This is the result of the classification for the supervised classification. So quickly, I repeat, we use here the geometry tool to define our data, and we apply the code. نرجع نعيدها معكم كلها وخذوا الخطوة. لحقتوا شيء ولا؟
بس هي فكرت بعمل فيها
يلا جيت.
بس نزل شو من
حتى حياة الرسمي يعني
اشتغل مظبوط عن فضل.
خلاص لا خلاص انا مش بدك
شغل خطوة
يعني معلومة البيروت سماك البيروت
لا محمد حيدر يلا خطوة فوت. Let's apply the supervised classification step by step. First step, we go to new and add file name supervised classification. We go to supervised classification. We go to satellite to add the imagery of Lebanon. Zoom in Beirut. Zoom on Beirut. Go here. Click here to draw a rectangle and add a geometry. Change the name of the geometry here to urban. Urban. So draw here a rectangle. Here we draw a rectangle here. And zoom on other village, on other location. And but on urban zone and draw another rectangle under the feature urban, namely water or water bodies. Click on the water bodies here. Now go to the Barren Lake here and click on the water bodies and draw a rectangle here. Then add a new layer and name and rename to forest. Go to the forest go here to forest and define. You can change the color here to green. Go here to the forest and define and draw the rectangle. الحين معي؟ Now add a new layer and name barren land. Barren land. يعني أرض قاحلة. Go to the mountain here of Lebanon. The mountain.